Hello, I'm Jacob. You're watching the Prepper's Bunker Outdoors. Today we are going to talk about the Halfbreed Blades large bush knife. I'm going to do an unboxing, and I usually don't do that, but the Halfbreed Blades knives are so amazingly nicely packaged that I feel like it deserves an unboxing video. So this will be a first impressions video and an unboxing video. Take your little sleeves off. This came straight from Australia in a big old bubble wrapped package. This is held on by magnets. You've got envelope here, warranty information, you've got stickers, you've got patches. Now, if you are not familiar, I own Exodus Knife and Tool, my own little knife company. And I'm saying that to give you some perspective. This packaging is just blowing me away, and I don't think I'll ever be able to afford to do packaging that's this nice. It's just way over the top nice. All right, so you got that envelope with that kind of stuff in there. Then you've got your knife. Again, the large bush knife. We'll talk about this more in just a second. This one is obviously an OD green. You lift this padding out, and then you have your sheath, which is again just over the top nice, and it comes with MOLLE clips, so you can attach it to a pack or whatever, anything that has MOLLE webbing, ideally a good little length of it, or you can swap this out for a tech lock to throw it on your belt or whatever you would use a tech lock for. So holy crap. All right, so where to start? This is more difficult than you might expect. I'm actually going to get the box out of the way now. So to get into the first impressions section, obviously the first impressions on the packaging is I can't believe how premium it is. Just way over the top nice. Let's talk about the specs of the knife and sheath system themselves. So your kydex and your handle scales, which are linen micarta, are made in the USA. And the MSRP on this knife in USD, American dollars, is about $225. And okay, you can see I took my notes right here. If I tried to just remember all of this, I'd screw some stuff up. So someone will find that to be humorous, I'm sure. All right, so you can get this knife in all black or olive drab green. Whew, man, this thing's a beast. The coating is Teflon. So I don't believe that this is a powder coat or anything like this. Now, when I hear the word Teflon, my first thought is cooking pans and stuff like that, a non-stick cooking coating, and I'm hoping that this will be tougher than my experience with doggone pots and pans, right? Which I expect it will be. That's going to be one of the things that I'm definitely looking at. All right, so the knife, the blade, 5.7 inches long. The overall length is 11.2 inches, so about a 6-inch handle. The weight is 17.46 ounces, so you're looking at just over a pound. This is Bowler K110 steel, which you are probably more familiar with as D2. Now, this was an interesting knife for me because I tested it's not really a similar knife in hand, but it looks similar. The Ultimate Survival Tips MSK. It looked similar. It was also D2, and it was advertised as being the last knife you'll ever need, ultimate survival. If you could only have one knife, what would it be? And I did some fairly honest and critical reviews of that knife based on the marketing, and I'll put a link to that up here. But essentially, Dave at Ultimate Survival Tips and some of the people that he sent the knife to afterwards acted like they didn't really understand why I was so critical. Maybe it was just because his video quality was so good. No, but it's because the claims that he made were just absolutely stupid. And this knife is advertised as being a bush knife, a survival knife. You can fill in the blanks yourself, but it's never been hyped up to a $500 blade that is the last knife you'll ever need in the entire world, and it's made out of D2. Now, the guys at Halfbreed Blades are really cool, and they know that I don't like D2. So they sent a blade and a steel that I don't like to a channel that beats on, bashes, and abuses knives. So any knife company out there that's familiar with my channel that sends me a D2 knife is ballsy. And I'm going to absolutely put a hurtin' on this knife, and if it fails, you will know. So let's get into a little more details here. The sheath is incredibly nice and it's beautiful. Now, it doesn't quite have that snap that I like when a sheath is in and is fully engaged, but the retention is great. This is a great sheath. Just doesn't quite have that snap in and snap out. I'm going to do it up by my microphone here. Not quite, but it's not overly big. It's got a big drain in it, so it's not silly oversized. It's fairly compact, nice and thin, nice design. I actually don't know the Kydex thickness. I'm guessing 0.080. I think it's likely acceptable. You do have also included a ferro rod on here. It's nicely mounted, and the knife has a ferro rod notch here, which is Teflon coated. Now, I'm not super used to using a ferro rod in this manner. We will find out how well that works in a more in-depth review, but it's nice to have a coated blade where the designer thought about the ferro rod and thought about making a spot for it even under the coating. Now, most knives that are coated like this are high carbon steel, like 1095 or something like that, a simple steel. D2 is almost stainless, so it doesn't really need this coating to resist corrosion, but it does keep it low glare, and it's just, honestly, it's quite simply beautiful. Handle is very comfortable, and honestly, at a 1/4 inch thick, this knife feels like it could actually do a little bit of chopping. And I've always said that a knife with a 5-inch blade, if you're chopping with it, you are literally wasting your time. I do believe that might be a little bit different because of the height of this blade and the amount of forward weight that you have in this blade. And the comfort and design of the handle, which I think will let you choke back on it. Again, we'll find out. This is not going to be a chopper, guys. This is not going to be a chopper. However, if you need to do light chopping, I believe this might do the task. There's a couple things I want to talk about here before we wrap this up. These holes, these lashing holes, and the choil, the fuller, the jimping. Basically, let's talk about edge, blade, and handle geometry. This choil is monstrous, and I love it. The feel of the knife when you're using the choil is very locked in. The feeling that you get from it is very, comfortable, safe. There's no question on whether my finger's going to slide forward and get onto the edge or anything like that. My cuts are very controlled, even though this is a fairly hefty blade. So the choil is just nice. And if I'm wearing gloves, again, it's right there. It's huge. It's got space for it. It's very nice. We've got a nice belly We've got a decent edge thickness. Now this is hard to show, but the grind would appear to be slightly hollow. I am not, in general, I am not a fan of hollow grinds. However, I think that this is a fairly shallow hollow grind. I think we have enough meat behind the edge, ideally, to not cause issues. However, I question, with this being D2, with the amount of meat that we have behind the edge, how easy it will be to sharpen. That's something that we will definitely closely look at. However, again, we're talking about meat behind the edge. This isn't a stupidly thick edge. It's probably what I would consider a standard edge thickness. This Teflon coating is nice and smooth. I do not see it causing drag when working. It hasn't irritated me a bit so far, like a more aggressive powder coat can. In my opinion, a more chunky powder coat can make the knife feel like it has worse edge geometry than it actually does, like it has a thicker edge, and it can make a sharp knife feel like it's not all that sharp because it's causing a lot of friction and not letting the blade do its work. That is not the case with this knife here. These lashing points. People like wearing lanyards in different styles. I'm actually becoming a fan of putting a lanyard on this back hole right here and putting my hand through it or my thumb through it with the lanyard hole back here. Having options is very nice. I do not recommend anybody attach this to a stick for any reason because that is silly. And let's wrap this up talking about handle geometry. Every detail on this knife is nicely contoured. That is not an easy thing to do. You pay to do that. No question about it. Fullers also are very expensive to put in. And this jimpy is very nice. It's not too sharp. And why the crap do so many companies fail to make a knife with decent handle geometry with a choil? They'll put the thumb ramp or the jimping in all the wrong places. If you're using this knife without the choil, your thumb fits right in. If you're using this knife with the choil, your thumb goes right over the thumb ramp and onto this jimping perfectly. I don't know why companies can't figure this crap out, but Halfbreed blades certainly has, and the handle itself is nice and thick. It's nicely contoured. I do not see it giving hot spots. And the bow drill divot is something that I will use. I think it's a really nice feature, and I wish that you would see it on more blades. So, to wrap this up, before I really just use the snot out of this knife, before I really sharpen this knife, I can't tell you that I think it's the toughest knife. I can't tell you how I think it will hold up, but we will find out. However, what I can tell you is that this knife is superbly finished. Fit and finish is amazing. I can tell you that this knife is superbly designed. I can tell you that the designer is clearly paying attention to the market trends, to what people want and what's going to be comfortable to use. And I can tell you that the manufacturer has considered every detail of this package so that they can give you the most bang for your buck, all the way down to the packaging, which I'm just still so impressed with how nice this doggone packaging really is. You could buy this knife and never buy an upgrade accessory and carry this knife and just be good to go. You're certainly getting $255 worth of knife, even without the amazing packaging. However, I really wish that I could get this knife hopefully at a somewhat comparable price in CPM 3V with a really good heat treat, or ADCR-V2, 52-100, 1084, 1080 plus, ADCR-V2, etc. Any of those steels, and I would say this knife is an absolute knockout. I won't say that this knife is not an absolute knockout. being that it's D2, but I would err on the side of caution and say that we're going to have to find out. And that's part of the good thing, one of the good things about this channel. If you want to see more of the large bush knife from Halfbreed Blades, subscribe to this channel. If you want to pick one up of your own, you can go to halfbreedblades.com. I also carry a Halfbreed Blades CCK on my work kit here. And in everything that these guys do, the attention to detail is simply amazing. Again, as of right now, this is first impressions. I just wish that we could get away from D2 entirely. However, if I test the crap out of this knife, I am impressed with it, and I am impressed with it, I'll come back here and I'll eat crow. And I'm not afraid to eat some crow. So, let me know what you think of the comment section below. Let me know what you think about the knife. Another person who's reviewed this knife is Pete over at Cedric and Ada. Ada. I'll put a link to his review in the top right-hand corner. Pete is at the top of his game, and put quite simply, he is my favorite knife YouTube channel. So if you want to know what YouTube videos, what knife videos a knife or prepping channel watches, the answer is Cedric and Ada. Love that guy. Look forward to talking in the comment section below. I hope that you have a blessed day, and guys, stay healthy out there. Don't catch the Rona, and freaking don't let the communists ruin your lives, crush your business, and destroy our economy because of it. Have a great day.